The company Be Quiet sent me a couple more of their PC cases to check out. It's part of their new light base series. They sent me the light base 600 and the light base 900. In this video, I'm going to compare the difference between the two models, and I'm going to show you when I do a build what it's going to look like a before and after, just to kind of give you an idea what a basic build would look like. It's not going to be anything fancy. I usually don't do things too fancy, but it does look nice in a case like this. These cases come with two different color variations, white or black. That's pretty much with all their cases. And they also offer two different versions of each color variation, where you can get a version with fans and a version without fans. For both of these models, the DX model has no fans, but for the 600 model, it is the LX model is the one with the fans. It comes with 3 fans. For the light base 900, it comes with the FX model. You get the 3 fans. So in this one, the model they sent me with the light base 900, it's the DX version with no fans, and the 600 model is the one that has the LX model, which has fans in it. So the light base 900 is like a larger version of the light base 600. The light base 600 can support up to ATX motherboards, while the 900 model can support up to E-ATX, so larger motherboards. And it gives you a little more room for coolers and that sort of thing. So if you have like large graphics cards, or you want to put a ton of fans in it, some people love putting lots of fans in their cases, you may want to get the larger model. So full transparency, Be Quiet sponsored these cases, but they don't get to see the video before I publish it. I just wanted to mention that before we continue. I also want to say thank you for Be Quiet for sponsoring these types of items, because I like checking these things out from time to time. One thing I noticed if you pick the white case versus the black case is the white case has a clear tempered glass panel, while the black case has a dark smoky panel. And so it depends on the aesthetic that you're going for. If you want like a darker, moodier build, depending on how you want the lighting to be, you might want the black case. And if you want to be able to see everything inside nice and bright and vivid, and maybe have the colors reflect off the case on the inside, a white case is maybe a really good option for that. I really noticed when I was filming this, it kind of struck me how dark the black case is, like the panels, the glass panels, versus how bright and the white case is. So even when I was filming it and taking pictures and stuff, like there's a huge difference, and the aesthetic between white and black is a huge contrast there. I'm a fan of black hardware and cases and those sorts of things, but when I saw this white one, I was like, this is actually pretty interesting. I could see the appeal of it, because it's really clear to see inside. There's like, if you want to have a high visibility inside your case, the white is the way to go. One interesting aspect about these cases I think is really cool is the fact that it's designed to be able to be stood vertically or horizontally, depending which orientation you prefer. A lot of people like to have their PCs on their desk because it's definitely less dirty on there, and it also makes a nice visual statement. So one thing that's striking about these cases compared to some of their other cases, instead of just having a glass panel on the side, it's on the front and the side, so you get more of the view inside your case. And I thought about this, and if I move this case under my desk on the shelf, unlike the dark base I have beside my desk, this case will actually be a lot easier to see everything that's in there, and it kind of makes a little more of a visual statement. So even under your desk, I think it's still going to be stunning to look at. Now I can just like look through it and see like all the lighting and everything that's inside. I think that'll be pretty cool. I was always of the mindset back in the day that not to have any fancy cases, just to have a really simple basic case and spend all the extra money on hardware. But after reviewing some of these Be Quiet cases, we'll see what modern case design is like. I've come to maybe change my mind on that a little bit. Like, I would consider buying a case like this, because I keep my cases for a long time, like 10 years sometimes, 10 or 15 years. I just reuse them and put new hardware in it. And these kind of cases seem like the quality would last for a while, and it has a nice aesthetic that you wouldn't really get tired of it perhaps as easily as you would with some other like more plain looking cases. And some of these cases, like the dark base cases that I reviewed, the configuration can be changed a lot to meet your different needs. So you can have different components you can swap in and out. I noticed with these light base cases compared to the dark base cases, there's not as much hardware in the inside that you can reconfigure to repurpose like different things, but there is a little bit of configuration you could do if you want like your GPU to be vertical. Some people like to have their GPU vertical in the front of the glass so you could see the logo and the colors, and because some GPUs are really nicely designed and nice to look at. So there are some configuration options like that, but it doesn't come with a bunch of extra parts like my dark base cases where you can swap complete components out of. So in some ways that's nice. In other ways, if you want a lot of configuration, you're not going to have as many options as the dark base cases. But if you want more simplicity but still like aesthetically pleasing, these cases are really nice because it comes with all the things you need and plenty of space to build in. I don't necessarily mind that because it keeps things a lot more simple. It still has nice little features, like it has on the back of both of these cases has like a hinged panel that you can open up, and you can put some cables down there or tie them to it. But it's also a place where you can mount like 2 SSDs in there, so you can mount that against the back of the case, and it's easy to get to when you take the back panel off, and it hides a lot of your cables. The way these cases are designed, a lot of cables can be put in the back of the cases. That's one thing I always struggle with over the years, is with these really cheap cases that I have, there's not really any places for cables to go. Sometimes there's a little bit of room in the back, you could cram them in there, and sometimes I just have them smashed back in there just to hide some of that mess. But these cases really have lots of nice cable management features. They have hooks everywhere. They have places where you can tie twisty ties and various things too, and it just really makes it building in these things really nice. It makes it fun, to build in a case like this. Both of these cases come with a GPU mount, and I noticed that the Light Base 900 had the GPU mount already in there, and you can slide it out. You can adjust how far you want it to be out, and you can adjust the height and stuff as well in there, to be able to just rest your GPU on. If you have like a real heavy one, it kind of takes strain off your motherboard. But I noticed on the Light Base 600, it's not installed by default, but it came in the bag. The bag had more parts in it than the bigger case, because I think the bigger case already had everything installed in it. And another difference I noticed is the Light Base 900 had grommets all over the place where cables can come in and out of and fish through, which is really nice. It allows them, to kind of hide some of the cabling a little bit better. And I noticed that the Light Base 600 only came with like 3 grommets down back center of it, and that's the only place that had grommets, even though there's other places that it could have grommets, but for some reason it didn't come with any rubber grommets for the rest of the case like the Light Base 900 does. So that's one difference that may or may not be important to you. So both of these cases have 2 sets of headers for the ARGB fans. So that's nice to have some up in the top, and there's some down in the bottom that you can connect to, and there's plenty of extra connectivity, because even the case that had 3 fans in it, I feel like there were still several in the top that you could use and several on the bottom that you could use as well. I believe you can connect the ARGB headers to a motherboard and be able to control anything else that's on your motherboard that's using ARGB. I don't have any motherboards that support ARGB. I have older hardware, so I don't really have any of that fancy stuff. From top to bottom, we have the ARGB controller, a USB Type-C port, a USB 3.2 Type-A port, a power button, another USB 3.2 port, an audio mic jack, and a reset button that's recessed so you don't accidentally hit it. A nice feature they include is some labeling of the different mounts for the motherboard, so you know which mounting screws you need to put in for each type of motherboard, so you don't have to guess or consult the manual to know which screw holes you need to use. One thing that was frustrating with the Light Base 600 packaging is they put the extra hardware in this hard drive cage, and I had to unscrew it to be able to get it out, which was kind of a pain. Now I want to show a couple of the steps of building this PC so you can see what it looks like. Here's the motherboard mounted with the GPU network card and an extra NVMe in the PCI slot. I have this front pin header, which is nice, that comes with the case and the motherboard. So that way I just connect a solid piece in. And I took the GPU support off, and I bought an extra fan to put in the rear case so it matches my other fans and my AIO cooler. And there's the PSU mounted with all the cables and wires in the back. I don't have any SATA drives, so I can just close that panel to hide all the wires. With the power of video editing, we're going to show the before build and the after build. You can see how it looks nice with the fans glowing, and they're all matching because it's part of the ARGB controller. My motherboard has its own little lighting on there, so it's not controlled by the ARGB lighting, but everything else is controlled by the ARGB lighting on the case. On the top of the case, you'll see there's a stripe that goes across, and then you see the Be Quiet logo, which is white, and then it goes down the front of the case. With the lights off in my room, you can see how stunning the case looks when you peer into it from the outside. You see a little bit of smudges there. I didn't get to wipe it off after I did the build, but I got that cleaned up. Look at the inside of this. Isn't it nice looking with the white? You can see how it just glows off the inside of the case. And I actually got this case to fit on my shelf. I had to take off that top shelf and move it. Luckily, it doesn't mess with the integrity of my desk, but it still looks really nice. Overall, I like the quality of the Be Quiet cases that I've seen so far. Like, you can take a lot of the components apart and play around with it, move stuff around. It has a lot of cable management, plenty of room. It has, you tell that they put some thought in some of the engineering of this, but they even put little cable ties right in the nice little places where you need it to make things, route things really nice. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed doing this. I decided not to do like a full build like I did last time, just in the interest of time. You can see kind of before and after, get the idea of what it will look like to build something in this without going through the excruciating process of actually building it. Which is not terrible. It's not terrible. It's fun, right? If you enjoy these things. So until next time, I'm Dustin Casto, and I'll see you guys later.